What is going on, XRP Army? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are breaking down a massive development that just happened right here in the United States. A development that fundamentally changes how corporate America interacts with the XRP ledger. While the retail market is distracted by the daily price candles, Ripple has quietly flipped the switch on a new platform that integrates XRP and RLUSD directly into the financial veins of the Fortune 500. The headline is simple: Ripple just launched Ripple Treasury. But what does that actually mean? It means that for the first time, CFOs and corporate treasurers have a unified dashboard to manage their cash and their crypto side by side, powered by the $1 billion acquisition of GTreasury. And it gets bigger. We also have confirmation of a massive integration with DXC Technology, a company that runs the core banking software for 300 million bank accounts. In this deep dive, we are going to expose exactly what Ripple Treasury does, why the DXC deal is a $1 trillion Trojan horse, and why XRP holders need to be watching this specific US expansion very closely. Let's start with the Ripple Treasury launch. This is the product that Ripple has been building in secret since they acquired GTreasury late last year. Now in early 2026, it is live. This platform allows a US company, let's say a tech giant in Silicon Valley, to hold US dollars, RLUSD, and XRP in a single interface. They can use RLUSD to make instant vendor payments to suppliers in Asia on a Sunday night, bypassing the banking system entirely. This isn't just a crypto wallet, it is enterprise-grade software with audit trails, compliance checks, and liquidity forecasting. It solves the biggest hurdle for adoption: complexity. Now, a treasurer doesn't need to know how to use a Ledger Nano. They just use the software they already know, and the XRP ledger does the heavy lifting in the background. This creates operational demand for XRP. It's not speculative buying, it's companies buying XRP to pay gas fees and bridge liquidity for their daily operations. We need to talk about the DXC Technology connection. This is arguably even bigger than the Treasury platform. DXC provides the Hogan core banking platform, which manages over $5 trillion in deposit size globally. Ripple has integrated its custody and payment solutions directly into this platform. This means that any bank using DXC, and that includes nearly half of the mid-sized banks in the US, can now offer XRP and RLUSD services to their customers with a software update. They don't need to build a blockchain team. They don't need to hire developers. They just turn it on. This is the hardwiring of XRP into the US banking system. It removes the friction of adoption. When 300 million bank accounts suddenly have the potential to hold digital assets, the addressable market for XRP explodes overnight. Furthermore, let's look at the RLUSD traction. The Ripple stablecoin has quietly grown to a market cap of $134 billion. As of February 2026. This growth isn't coming from retail traders on Binance. It's coming from these institutional integrations. As Ripple Treasury rolls out to more GTreasury clients, the demand for RLUSD increases. And remember the golden rule: what's your RLUSD is the Trojan horse for XRP. You cannot move RLUSD without burning XRP for fees. You cannot swap RLUSD efficiently without using XRP as a bridge asset in the AMM automated market maker pools. The success of the stablecoin is mathematically tied to the scarcity of XRP. We also have to address the ETF inflows. While Ripple is building the plumbing with Treasury and DXC, Wall Street is buying the supply. The US spot XRP ETFs, Bitwise, Canary, Franklin, have now accumulated over $1.4 billion in assets under management. This divergence, institutions buying the ETF while retail sells the boredom, is creating a massive supply squeeze. The ETFs are locking up coins in cold storage, while Ripple Treasury is creating new utility demand. It is a pincer movement on the supply. Finally, look at the timing. Why launch this now? Because the regulatory war is over. The settlement in late 2025 gave Ripple the green light to operate freely in the US. They are not wasting any time. They are aggressively recapturing the US market share they lost during the lawsuit years. This just did this moment is the signal that Ripple is back to being a US first company, and that is where the deepest capital pools in the world reside. Now let's pivot to the institutional outlook, the 8.00 price target. Just days ago, Jeffrey Kendrick, the head of digital assets research at Standard Chartered, reiterated his bullish call for XRP. He predicts that XRP will trade between the $5 and $8 by the end of 2026. His reasoning, it aligns perfectly with what we just discussed. He cites the ETF multiplier effect and the real-world asset RWA integration as the primary drivers. When a major bank like Standard Chartered puts an $8 target on an asset, it de-risks the trade for other asset managers. It gives them permission to allocate capital, and with the DXC and Treasury news confirming the utility, that $8 target starts to look less like a moonshot and more like a fundamental valuation. Let's discuss the collateral utility shift. Another massive development is the integration of RLUSD as collateral on major trading venues like LMAX Group. This allows hedge funds to use RLUSD to back their trades. This is crucial because it locks up liquidity. When billions of dollars of stablecoins are locked as collateral, they aren't circulating, and to mint those stablecoins, billions of dollars of value had to enter the XRP ecosystem. This collateralization of the ledger is what turns a payment network into a financial layer. US investors love this narrative because it generates yield and sticky volume. We also need to talk about the 21 Shares institutional report. The issuer of one of the XRP ETFs, 21 Shares, released their 2026 Outlook report. They specifically highlighted that regulatory resolution and institutional rails, like the DXC deal, are the catalysts for a breakout. They noted that XRP is one of the only assets with legal clarity in the US, giving it a massive competitive advantage over other chains that are still in the SEC's crosshairs. This report is being read by investment committees across America right now. It is laying the groundwork for the next wave of capital allocations. Furthermore, let's look at the DeFi renaissance on XRPL. With the new institutional tools, we are seeing the rise of KYC compliant DeFi. This allows US companies to lend and borrow assets on-chain without breaking compliance laws. Ripple Treasury is likely the front end for this. Imagine a US corporation earning 5% yield on their idle cash using an XRP ledger lending pool, all managed through their standard Treasury dashboard. This is the killer app for corporate finance. It moves crypto from the speculative asset bucket to the cash management bucket. Let's address the price action frustration. I know it is frustrating to see all this news, DXC Treasury ETFs, and see the price stuck in the U at 190, 2.00 range. But you have to understand market efficiency. The crypto market is inefficient. It takes time for fundamental news to translate into price action. The smart money uses this lag time to accumulate. They are buying the 190s because they see the 8.0's hour potential. If you sell now out of boredom, you are selling to the very institutions that are building this future. Finally, we have to touch on the political wins. The Clarity Act is moving through Congress with bipartisan support. This bill would explicitly allow banks to hold digital assets on their balance sheets. Ripple's integration with DXC is a bet on this bill passing. They are building the infrastructure before the law changes so that when the law does change, they have a monopoly on the banking rails. It is a strategic masterstroke. So, Ripple just did this. They launched the Treasury platform and integrated with DXC. What does this mean for your portfolio? It means the risk profile of XRP has completely changed. It is no longer a risky bet on a lawsuit outcome. It is now a venture capital style bet on the adoption of financial software. The upside is mathematically higher because the total addressable market, TAM, has expanded from just payments to corporate treasury and banking core. What is your strategy? The data suggests we are in the final stages of the reaccumulation phase. The price has been consolidating for months. My strategy is simple. Follow the volume. The volume is moving to the US. The volume is moving to institutional products. I am using this consolidation to dollar cost average, DCA, into my core position. I am not trading the 15-minute charts. I am positioning for the Q3, Q4 expansion when these bank integrations go fully live. A critical warning on scams. With this new Treasury launch, scammers are going to create fake websites looking like Ripple Treasury to steal your login details or seed phrases. Ripple Treasury is an enterprise product. It is not for retail investors. You cannot sign up for it with a Gmail address. If you see a link claiming to give you early access to Ripple Treasury, it is a scam. Do not click it. Keep your XRP in your own cold wallet. The only thing you need to do is hold the asset. Let the corporations use the software. Let's talk about the end game. We are moving toward a world where value moves like email. The Ripple Treasury platform is the Outlook or Gmail of this new world. It is the interface. XRP is the TCP/IP protocol underneath. You don't need to own shares in Gmail to benefit from the internet, but you do need to own XRP to benefit from the value flowing through this ledger. You own the protocol. That is a powerful position to be in. The bottom line is this: Ripple has successfully pivoted back to the US. They have hardwired their tech into the banking sector via DXC and GTreasury. The ETFs are soaking up the supply. The stage is set. Now we wait for the curtain to rise. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive. If this analysis helped you understand the massive implications of the Ripple Treasury launch, please destroy that like button. It helps us educate the community. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the news is breaking fast, and I will be here to cover every single development. Stay strong, stay safe, and I will see you on the moon. Peace.